In a world where one woman tries to start a podcast,
how will I ever do this on my own?
She thought she would have to get expensive equipment.
What? I can do all of this on a free app?
She thought she would have to find creation tools all over the internet.
You mean it can all be contained in an app on my phone and computer?
She thought she would have to do all her own distribution.
You mean to tell me this app is going to send it to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and all those other platforms for me?
She thought she would never make any money.
I don't have to wait for a minimum listenership to monetize?
She thought that she would have to find all kinds of different equipment and pieces.
But I'm going to download this free Anchor app and get started today.
Visit Anchor.fm and download the free Anchor app to be just like her, the ultimate podcaster.
Hello and welcome to the Lou Review. I'm your host, Rosa, and I have a special guest with me today, Barbara Sivells, owner of The Shack in the Back. Now, Barbara, what is The Shack in the Back?
The Shack in the Back is an old-fashioned barbecue restaurant located in Fairdale, Kentucky. We specialize in hickory smoked barbecue. We've got lots of homemade sides, and we've been in business since 2006 in Fairdale.
Okay, so you are no stranger to having a food business in Louisville. You've been doing it for a minute.
Yes, ma'am.
But I got to come to your grand reopening of it in a new location, kind of at the back end of the pandemic, right? So, you want to tell us about how Shack in the Back came into being and the kind of stages it's gone through?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Shack in the Back was an idea of my husband. I actually met him in 1989. I was from New York. He was from Hopkinsville, and we hit it off both working at the Radisson Hotel. He was the bellman, and I was the waitress, and we made fun of how each other talked. Since the day I met him, he had always said he was going to have a barbecue restaurant one day, and he enjoyed cooking for me. And a couple years later, we got married, and there was always a big story about, this is how I'm going to do it in my restaurant one day. This is what I'm going to cook. And there was an old log home that was in the heart of Fairdale that we had discovered years later that was an old florist. And we realized that was an old log home in which he restored log homes for a living.
Really?
So then it became, this is where I'm going to have my barbecue. This is how I'm going to do it. This is what I'm going to serve. Well, the problem was, obviously, it was... it belonged to someone else.
Right.
And so it was just something that we talked about. So for years and years, we'd drive by. We then had two children. We would drive by, there's mommy and daddy's restaurant. And it was just kind of like an ongoing joke.
Yeah.
So he was restoring a home for a lady named Miss Miller. And it just so happened that particular day, he needed me to bring some supplies out to the job site. In which I did. And as he was walking me down the driveway back to my car, little Miss Miller, who was in her upper 90s, came out, and she had maybe thought that he was getting ready to leave. She had hollered out, "Now, Mike, I need you to wash my shack in the back," which is what she called her garage.
Oh.
So when she said that, you know how people say they have those light bulb moments? I'm going into convulsions. I can't breathe. My husband's looking at me like I'm crazy. I'm hyperventilating, and he's like, "What in the world is wrong with you?"
You thought you're having a panic attack?
That's it. That's the name. Shack in the Back. Because we knew we would have a smokehouse.
Yeah.
In the back, wherever it may be.
And you've been dreaming up a name, and had you been like, "Oh no, that can't be it," and like arguing back and forth?
Yes.
Oh.
So when she said that, literally it was a light bulb moment. And then, of course, we had the name. So we drove by for years. We had the name. There's mommy and daddy's Shack in the Back. And it was April of 2006.
Okay.
He was driving by, and he noticed a for rent sign. And he came home. He says, "You're never going to believe this." And I said, "Well, have you lost your mind? It's a month before Derby.
Oh, man.
Here's your customer list and all the things that we have to accomplish in the next month." Because, everybody wants everything clean and
You're
looking
talking about
good.
for renovation.
Well, for what we had to do for our customers, having a pressure cleaning and wood restoration business.
Yes.
We had to do
Not
this
food
long,
customers.
right?
Yeah.
We had this long list of, things that had to be done before Derby.
Yes, they did.
So basically I had said, if the timing's right and it's meant to be, once we make it through Derby,
Yes.
then we'll explore the restaurant option. Well, telling him and talking to him about it was like talking to Charlie Brown, the teacher.
Oh.
He didn't hear a word I said. And come Monday morning, he was already finding out who owned that building. And by God, comes home with a lease and
there you go.
set of keys that, now we own a restaurant.
Oh, my.
So it's funny how things work out because, here I'm nervous and worried. We've got all these other irons in the fire. And, we finally opened up in September of 2006. We completely renovated the log home, brought it back to life.
Wow.
And
You didn't just rent it, you renovated it.
yes.
Wow.
Yes. Because
Not a lot of renters get to renovate.
That's right.
Yeah.
We had an amazing landlord that let us pretty much do whatever we wanted. And because we knew that end of the trade, it was easy for us.
Of course.
So everything was great, and this was just part-time. So I think we were open 3 days a week. Everything is great. It's a family affair. My mother-in-law worked there. Myself, my husband, my daughter, my son at the time chopped the wood, split the wood, and kept us supplied with the hickory wood.
For the smoker.
Yeah. So everything is great. We're having a good time. We still got our other, business on the side. And then 2008, the economy tanked. Okay. So gas was, I don't even remember, something outrageous, $5 a gallon. I don't remember what it was. And all of these contracts, because not only did we restore log homes, we also washed a lot of different tractor trailers and, performed different services for other customers. So at that time, these big trucking companies, they couldn't afford to have their trucks washed. So now we start losing contracts left and right to where it was literally about 60% of our business. I mean, and it sounds like I'm exaggerating, but I mean, it was literally almost overnight.
It went up in smoke.
People wanted to wait for the rain to wash things. It was that bad. So then we kind of were at a crossroads. Okay, well, thank God people still have to eat. We're only open a couple days a week. Let's kind of focus our efforts into opening.
Dirty, but they'll have to eat.
Right.
That's hilarious. I can just see people driving up in their very dirty vehicles to eat.
Yes.
I'm sorry. That
So-
just gave me this mental image.
No. And I mean, it was that crazy. And so we then decide, okay, well, let's open 5 days a week. And then it became 6 days a week. And then it became, let's, focus on, weddings and corporate caterings. And let's, feed America, which is about, where we're at with things. But it was a blessing because the economy did not bounce back that fast. And even though it was sort of short-lived, I feel like since what we've been through has
comparison.
been, going on, it seems like forever. By no means was it this bad, of what we've got going on now. And so, so then it worked out. And then we were kind of like, hey, we really kind of like this, so we were happy. Everything was great. And then in 2019,
So like 10 years later.
we find out that Circle K purchased the property from our landlord.
Oh. The log cabin.
Of the log
property.
cabin, of the old shack.
Because they wanted the location.
They were already there next door,
Oh.
but they wanted to expand. And it made sense. And really, in hindsight, even though we would have stayed there forever, we outgrew it a long time before that, but we made do. And so we then were forced to look for another location in which we did not want to leave Fairdale. We only lived a mile and a half away.
Right.
We raised our kids there. At the time, the population was only like 4,400. We felt like we knew everybody. And even though neither of us were born and raised there, we felt like we were.
Yeah.
And we did not want to leave Fairdale. Well, there weren't many options. So we kind of just, let things flow a little bit and kind of realized that, it would work itself out. Ironically, about the time where we found out that we were going to have to leave sooner than what we anticipated, my daughter, who also worked at Fork Bank, which is kind of on the other side of the roundabout, found out the bank was closing.
Oh, my.
So she was being transferred to Dixie, and never did it cross my mind that we should put a shack there. Well, then Vicki Welch, our councilwoman, and Jeff Donahue, our state representative, they had approached us and said, hey, have you ever thought about buying the old Fork Bank location for the shack? Be a great opportunity for you. We've got the green space, we've got the roundabout, we've got all these, great plans.
And you're like, we never looked at a bank and thought, oh, yeah, let's put barbecue in there.
Well, it was like, no, we can't buy a bank. Like, seriously?
Right.
So they were kind enough to help us figure out how to buy a bank, in which they had put us into contact with Metro Louisville, and there were incentive loans, low interest loans, to develop, different areas of town.
Yeah.
And there were some different things that were available to us that then allowed us to buy a bank.
Wow.
Well, then COVID hit.
Yes.
So we put, started all over again, put the whole farm up. We had to make this work.
Yeah.
So we started renovating. So there's a good side and a bad side to COVID. Obviously, it didn't just affect us. It affected everybody.
Yes.
So Circle K and their plans were put on hold. So then that allowed us to work on the bank.
Okay.
So then we had this great idea. Okay, well, we've got, so much downtime, and we're pretty handy people. I mean, we renovated log homes for a living. We'll do a lot of the work ourselves. Well, then you work against the different challenges and time frames. And then if you remember, all of the lumber prices skyrocketed and all these, negative things started taking place.
So instead of having a wood floor, didn't you end up making some flooring out of pennies?
Concrete on the bottom floor, but upstairs, yes, because we wanted to kind of pay tribute to the bank.
Oh,
and so we did a penny floor.
Yeah.
The safe is still there, and that's actually our gift shop.
Oh.
And so there were different things that we wanted to incorporate to, kind of pay homage to the bank. We actually had intentions to take some of the safe deposit boxes and make some different things until we went to try to lift a section of them. And it required a big crane for a little, 3x5 box. And anyway, those plans went down the drain. But so we successfully renovated. There were a lot of obstacles. We unfortunately had some bad things happen. We had some theft of all of our tools and things like that. Yikes. But we picked ourselves up and continued on. That got us a little behind. But it probably was the longest renovation in history. And that was a little hard explaining to people, the 5,000 reasons why. But we finally were ready to open. And then we had to leave our old location 7 months earlier than what we planned.
Oh my goodness!
And the bank wasn't quite open, or ready to be open. So then we went to plan
kind of in between time.
Yes, so we went to Plan Z, and we took our what we call Shack on Wheels. It's a sort of like a concession trailer, but you pull it behind, one of the catering vehicles.
So not like a food truck where you stand inside of it, but it's
you do, but you can't drive it. Something that you tow behind.
Okay, gotcha.
But it's a concession trailer, but it looks like a little shack.
Okay, well that's perfect. Very on brand.
Well, so we parked that in the parking lot, and I think that was in September of 21. and not knowing that we were going to be there for 7 months. So now here comes winter. Mm-hmm. Thank God we have the best employees in the entire world, because wind, rain, sleet, or snow, they would show up to work in this trailer.
Oh, my.
I mean, there were a few times we had to close because of the weather.
Sure.
But 90% of the time, we were open. Our staff was working, all bundled up. You know, we had little space heaters and things like that. But there were days that I would just sit there and just shake my head and in awe, just couldn't believe how lucky I was that I had these wonderful people that would still come to work every day.
Yeah, especially with everybody, like, quitting jobs left and right, and being able to take their pick. Where do you want to work? Well, that's where you're going to go.
Yes.
And they wanted to work with you.
But we were such a big, close-knit family that, you know, they stuck it out with us.
Are these the same people that have been with you for over 10
Several,
years?
yes.
In the old log cabin?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Several have been with us since day one. Now, a lot of them have gone on to bigger and better things. They've got their careers now. But several of them still come back. We call them weekend warriors. You know, they need to pay off the student loans. So we made it to our grand opening, which was in May of 22, which ironically was our anniversary week of our original opening.
Oh, well, that's good.
So it's kind of funny how that works out. But so I mean, we're still there, in spite of so many other restaurant competitors going out of business. You know, we're still there. We've had a lot more obstacles that we faced. Within the first 2 weeks, our manager, who had been working for us for 12 years, passed away from an aneurysm.
Oh, no.
So that was a big loss. Yeah. Her son, her mom, and her daughter all worked with us, so that was really hard. Yeah. Her daughter's now back with us, and she's been there since she was in her early teens. We have a nice little tribute, you know, for her mom. And, you know, we all, you know, made it through. And now with, you know, spring and summer coming, we finally feel like we are back on track.
Yeah.
You know, a couple little glitches along the way, but, you know, equipment, knock on wood's working. You know, we've got everything in place where it needs to be. And other than us, you know, enhancing the outside to where maybe we could enclose it somewhat, maybe temporarily in the wintertime.
Because you do have a nice big patio area.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So, but one thing we didn't think out too well were the metal, nice, cute black chairs. That and direct sunlight don't mix.
Yeah.
Your buns get a little toasted. So there's some things that we want to do.
Get it covered and enclosed, and
and then
your space.
you know, and then you know, uncover it again and say spring or fall. So you know, we've got plans to do that, and we're happy with, you know, where we are, and we're happy with how it's going, and you know, we look to be there for a long time.
Yeah, and I went with somebody who had been to your old location to the opening, and they were so excited. They were like, we love going to that place like every week. And so do you have a lot of people who were regulars in Fairdale come to the Fourth Bank location?
Yeah, and what's interesting is that not only do we have our Fairdalians, but we have people literally that come from all over. We have people now that we call our friends that come from Michigan, Wisconsin, Frankfurt, Lexington.
Okay, well, what are you offering these people? It's bringing them in from out of state to get your barbecue.
You know, you don't really realize how much the North does not have barbecue. And so where, like in Hopkinsville, it's on every street corner.
Exactly.
I'm from New York, and on every corner is a pizza place, chicken wings, or an Italian restaurant. Yeah. And even they go crazy over barbecue. So we'll vacuum seal it. I'll send it home to family members. We'll send it wherever.
Yeah.
You know, so people can get their fix.
Yes.
But it's something that there's a true following of barbecue, and people will come just to try barbecue all over the state.
Yeah.
And we've been very fortunate. There's been 2 people that have put us in their books that they've written. We were on Man Fire Food about 6 years ago.
Okay.
And that was exciting.
But that got your name out there.
Yep, on the cooking channel.
And it's a memorable name to get out there.
Yes, a little catchy. But so, yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and we've had a lot of opportunities. And now that we're in this bigger location, one of the things that I've always wanted to do, and we're hoping to launch it this summer, I want to have a big, giant baked potato that you can put whatever, a meal and a peel.
Yeah. Oh,
you could put meat, you could put vegetables, melt cheese over it, and just literally eat that as your meal.
Yeah.
Another thing that we haven't been able to have due to lack of refrigeration space, and here's why. We went from 900 square feet to 4,400 square feet. So some people are wondering, well, why don't you have that already? We're still trying to get our flow.
Yeah.
That it was a big to-do going from 900 to 4,400.
Right.
And then from, 11 employees to, an ungodly amount of employees.
And concession service to, table service.
Yes, exactly. Alcohol. All of these different things that, we didn't offer at the other restaurant. So, we wanted to try to perfect things, and we still, have some monkey wrenches once in a while. But, we're working out all the kinks. I want to have salads. During Lent, we do smoked salmon. I want to be able to offer that maybe every weekend.
Sounds good to me.
We used to do hickory grilled steaks. I want to offer that on the weekends. So just some different things to kind of expand on the menu a little bit. Maybe do a few more appetizers. I've got some cool things that I'm going to try out that are... We like to be pioneers. We're we call ourselves the home of the turkey rib. I brought them here from down south while going to visit my son while he was in school in Trenton, Georgia.
Okay.
I brought those back, and for many, many years, we had the exclusive rights to the turkey ribs.
Oh.
And so that's something that is very exciting that we're really well known for.
Exclusive rights to turkey ribs.
Yeah.
What is it? What is this even about?
Okay. So a turkey rib is it's a thin bone. And it is surrounded in all white meat. So you eat it like a chicken wing. We put our homemade rub on it, and then we smoke it. So what's unique about it is that it is a patented process. So if you know anything about the anatomy of a turkey, apparently turkeys do not have ribs, or if they do, you can't see them. So when you see a big, giant, what we call turkey rib, you'll have people that do know the anatomy of a turkey.
Yeah.
And they'll say, whoa, that, must have been a big turkey. Or they'll say, turkeys don't have ribs. What is this?
Yeah.
But it's all white meat. It's not a processed type food, but there is a process to fusing the white meat back onto the bone. And it's literally a patented product. There's only one manufacturer that makes them. And we were the only ones in Louisville for a very long time that sold turkey ribs.
Well, my goodness.
So we created a large following, and it's a conversation piece.
Yeah, it is.
Because people come in, turkey ribs? What's this I hear about turkey ribs?
Yeah.
Or they call them turkey wings or 50 million other things. But, they'll come in search of turkey ribs because they've heard from so many people.
Right.
And they just have to try them.
Yeah, and they can't just get it anywhere.
Which there's 2 in your little goodie box that I brought you. So,
yeah, get to try some.
And then the sauce that we serve it with, and that's an option. We have 5 homemade sauces.
Yes.
This one in particular is called White Lightning. And white barbecue sauce originated in Alabama.
Right, I was about to say Alabama sauce.
So that was a sauce that I had tried for the first time, again, during, the time that my son was in school that we would go to visit. But what they did was they took their whole whole chicken, and they would dip it in this Alabama white sauce.
Okay.
The places that we went, there really wasn't a dipping sauce on the side.
Because they were already submerged beforehand. Yeah.
So for me, I'm a saucy, dipping kind of girl.
Yeah.
And being from up north, we would always put vinegar on our fries.
Yeah.
Well, the main ingredient of this White Lightning sauce is
the
vinegar.
vinegar, yeah.
And so I told my husband, I said, you have got to figure out how to perfect a dipping sauce for us. And this was long before the turkey ribs came about. But we paired them with the turkey ribs, and it stuck.
Yay!
So so that's the White Lightning.
Okay.
We have a sweet and a hot. Those are your ketchup based.
Okay.
We have what we call a sweet sop, which is a brown sugar honey based.
Oh, I'm excited about this already.
Yep. And then we have a tangy, which is a mustard base.
Yes. And I think I had the sweet sop and the tangy one at the opening.
Yeah.
But I don't think I got to try the White Lightning there because someone had mentioned it, but I think I missed it and everybody got to it before I did or something.
Well, and so the sweet sop, my husband named it that because it's so good and sweet, you'll want to sop it all up with your bun.
Yeah, you will.
So
I'm all about that.
Yeah.
Bring it.
Yeah. So, it people, they do the funniest things. You have some people that'll come in, they know exactly how many drops of one sauce mixed with how many drops of another sauce. I mean, they got their fork and knife in their hand. They've already got their sauce mixed up. They're ready to go. And then you have the people that refuse sauce. Well, good barbecue doesn't need sauce. In which, even though I'm a saucy girl, I like to be in charge of my sauce. So a lot of times when you go to barbecue places, they are submerged in barbecue sauce.
Oh, yeah.
Well, what if I don't like that sauce?
Right.
Or what if it's too spicy?
It needs to be on the side.
Or what if you put too much on it or not enough? So that's why kind of the philosophy for us was to offer the sauces on the side so that you're in control and you can put as little or as much on as you want.
Plus, people have different allergies and stuff, too. And that way they get to enjoy the benefit of the meat without
absolutely.
any of that complication.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we like it that people can kind of customize their meals and pick out, what type of sauces they want. So,
man, that's just okay. Now I'm just really excited about all the goodies in the bag upstairs. So, what can people look forward to coming from you guys here in the future?
Well, we again hope to expand on our menu. I hope to be able to kind of have some different things that, we may have some fall related items that maybe we bring back only, say around the holidays or what have you. Some lighter options that we, bring for the spring and summer. I'd really like to be able to incorporate those different dishes and change things up a little bit. A couple things that I would really like to do, and this is sort of a long-term plan, but I want to be able to offer the items vacuum sealed or packaged in a way where, you don't know what you're going to do for dinner. You really, are trying to plan out for the rest of the week.
Yeah.
You can come purchase the items already packaged, and then when you're ready, you can heat them in your own oven.
You are speaking my language.
Yeah, just something that, or you could have, like I said, vacuum sealed. You can maybe put in the freezer for a rainy day. I'd like to, be able to offer prepackaged things like that. That's something I have on the grand plan. And then, too, to be able to just expand the outside so that it's more functional, most months throughout the year.
Yeah.
So that obviously when it rains, people have a dry, safe place where they can sit. Because we do, in the summer, spring, if it's raining, we lose out on that seating. And, like I said, we go to this big giant building and it's still like, God, we're out of space.
Right.
We need more.
But got these people.
We are content where we're at. We will continue to make it work.
Yeah.
It bothers me that people come in and have to go on a wait. But one day we'll have that enclosed and we'll have extra seating, and then we'll probably wish it was even bigger. You know?
Exactly. Do you heat it? Do you have a heated patio for when it's cold?
Used to at the old shack, and that's our intention for what we want to do for the new
As
shack.
part of enclosing it and stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
It's hard to do without a roof.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're just in a perfect spot because with that green space, the intention during, it was supposed to kick off in, I think, 2019, and then again, COVID hit. But, bands in the park. And then imagine just sitting on our, on our seated patio and having a nice cocktail while you're listening to the music under the gazebo.
Oh, that's fabulous.
And just on a nice, pretty day. And so we want to be able to, have something comfortable for everybody to be able to enjoy what, the city worked so hard on in getting all of that put in place.
Yeah.
There were a couple bands last year, but that it opened up, fairly late in the season. When everything kind of opened up for everybody.
Yeah.
And by that time it was almost too late. But it's nice to see people walking around in Fairdale, and the Fairdale Business Association, we have a vision that we want to make it look almost like not really like a Brown County, but a village look. And that's something that, they've got lots of plans and ideas to, make it look that way. And just imagine, kids on their bikes, parents walking the dog down the sidewalk, just having everybody out and, exercising and enjoying, what we have to offer in Fairdale.
That's a beautiful vision. And I just love your passionate vision for hospitality there. It's so much bigger than just like, we own this restaurant, come try our food. It's this whole vision of this community. And I love how all the members of the community and leaders in the community wanted to invest in you because they saw you as a partner who could help bring that dream into life.
Yeah, absolutely. So. Especially because, too, we wouldn't be here with all of our customers, and everybody that's helped us along the way. And those people that literally have come in since day one, that now their kids are grown. They're bringing their grandkids in. There's brides and grooms that come in for their first year anniversary or their second year anniversary. And now they have a little baby with them. Like, it's just so exciting to, see the different generations. Some of those kids that were coming in, was toddlers, work there now. It's just so crazy. And the thing too about where we're located and that green space, it's the entrance to Jefferson County Memorial Forest, which is the largest urban forest in America.
Really?
Yes.
I had no idea.
Largest urban forest in America.
Okay, I didn't even know.
And that is the gateway to that forest.
Well, that's a great gateway. In and out. I guess.
So, they really do want to enhance the way that Fairdale looks for when, these people come in from out of town and, make their way to the forest. We want it to be inviting and look nice. We need a few more restaurants there. We need...
Well, that's very generous of you. You're not trying to hog all the space.
Because they're not going to eat barbecue every day, I can't
not
even eat it every day,
Not everybody's going to.
But, we've got a pizza place there. We've got Dairy Queen. And nowadays with everybody as busy as they are, sometimes people are eating out once, if not twice a day. And they're not going to want to eat Shack all the time.
That's true.
So it'd be nice to have other restaurants in the area and, other things to invite people into the area. But in due time, hopefully I'll live that long and get to see that come to fruition. So
I love how you just almost teared up talking about the different generations of people.
Yes. Oh, it's so exciting. I love it.
Come in and stayed. And come back. And then you have a sister company you were telling me about as well, right?
Yep. It's out there in Shepherdsville. It's called River's Edge. It sort of fell into our lap based on our same landlord that owned the Shack building had owned a building in Shepherdsville and actually wanted us to put another Shack there. But at the time I was like, no, I'm not interested. I really don't want to, the undertaking of another Shack. So we made it into a event hall in which now it specializes in weddings. And
well, that must be beautiful. Then.
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's and we since have moved. We were downtown Shepherdsville, right by the Salt River, and now we're out off of 44 on Sunview Drive. We are having our 10-year anniversary on February 4th.
At River's Edge?
At River's Edge, which is open to the public. We do have a link on the website as well as the Facebook page for Eventbrite, where you can get tickets. We're going to have a silent disco.
Ooh, fun.
All kinds of great food, of course, from the Shack. We'll have an open bar. and all kinds of fun stuff. And of course, then people can see the venue. It's located on 10 acres. So we have a little something for everybody where if you want to have an outdoor wedding, rustic, hoedown type wedding, we've got the property for that.
Yeah.
But you can also have your wedding inside where it's very elegant. We decorate it to your liking. So you can transform it to anything that you want. Then if you wanted a small, intimate wedding for, say, a small handful of maybe, 30, 40 people, we have the hearth room, which has I think it's an 18-foot fireplace.
Whoa.
Yeah, gorgeous. I would live
That
there if I
sounds
could.
Stunning.
Yes. And so imagine.
Does it give you Yellowstone vibes?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Wow.
It's gorgeous. And so, so we've got something for everybody. And then, birthday parties, anniversaries. We've had first year anniversaries, lots of celebration of life, all different types of events there. But we've got something for everybody.
Yeah.
And so we're real excited that we made it to the 10-year mark.
Yeah, that's like 2 accomplishments right there.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you so much, Barbara, for sharing with us about Shack in the Back and how you built something from nothing, literally, and then River's Edge as well. You've got so many great things going on in Shepherdsville and Fairdale. So, I can't wait to see it transform into an idyllic little village like you described, because that just sounded so inviting.
Yes. Can you just see it?
I can.
Yes.
Yeah.
We even went on a field trip to Brown County just to be able to envision what potentially it could look like. And so if it ever makes it to that, it'll be nice.
Yeah. Well, with people being intentional like you guys are and being willing to share the space instead of just compete but collaborate with your neighbors. I mean, that's how you do it, right?
Exactly. But thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for coming,
Really
Barbara.
appreciate it, and I hope you enjoy your snacks.
Oh, I'm 100% sure I will. And so if you want to find Shack in the Back, you can look them up. They are, you want to say the address? Do you have it memorized?
We are at 10706 West Mansick Road. Generally, I tell people to come off of the New Cut Road exit. We're 1.5 miles south off of the Gene Snyder on the New Cut Road exit. And if you roll your window down, you'll smell us before you see us.
Ooh, that sounds good too. All right. And if you're not already, subscribe to the Lou Review podcast to be notified when we have the next episode so you can meet more of the movers and shakers in Louisville. And I'll see you in the next episode.